Welcome to the Au Jus. I'm your host, BeefLoaf. This show is being sponsored by our friends, Punky's Pizza and Pasta, located at 2600 South Wallace, my personal favorite eatery in the neighborhood. They have the best selections of pizzas and pastas, as well as sandwiches and salads of any spot in Bridgeport. Currently, they have what they are calling the Pizza Happy Hour, Mondays and Tuesdays only, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. You order a pizza from Punky's, and you get 50% off. Yes, you heard that correctly. 50% off pizzas ordered Mondays and Tuesdays between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. How in the world can you get 50% off the best pizza in Bridgeport? The Pizza Happy Hour. Hit the website, punkyspizza.com, for all your carryout or delivery needs or to cater your next party. You can also call 312-842-2100. The Scarlotta family will take care of you. Punky's Pizza and Pasta. The 108ers are doing a live show, the Sox Fest After Party Show at Reggie's Rock Club in the South Loop, 2105 South State Street on Saturday, January 31st. Doors open at 7:30. The program will start around 9 p.m. Tickets are $20 and readily available at 108.ing/party, as well as at Reggie's website, which is reggieslive.com. Buy tickets now. Make it to the biggest White Sox fan party of the offseason. Not just to see the 108ers, but we're going to have some guests and we're going to start announcing them very soon, but also to mingle with all the people that happen to go to these parties. It's a lot of fun there. This show is also powered by you, loyal 108 supporter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to tickle the undercarriage in the process. Like, comment, turn on notifications, most definitely super chat. That's how we get paid, and we continue to make the content you know and love. My God, I couldn't read that. Tonight's guest is a monumental disappointment. It's just a BeefLoaf. I'm gonna one last solo joint as we close this out for the year. Yeah, I look like Dieter from the SNL skit. I don't know what I got going on here. I was trying to stay warm during the day, forgot to change. Mrs. Beef and I just eaten dinner, so I just took this on here. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Is right. One last Au Jus for the year. This is episode 38, season 3. I just wanted to run down how the season went. I wanted to talk a little bit about state of content and White Sox Twitter, and then just kind of close it out with what I got planned for 2026. We'll be back doing more Au Jus in 2026, much to the chagrin of my guy, White Sox Sal. Fuck you, Sal, if you're listening. I know you're not. Let's get to this drink right here from Trey. Trey says drink. Thank you, Trey. I have a beautiful stout today from the big homie Mike Howard from Central Waters Brewing Company. And I had a couple of sips already. This is fucking delicious. I'm going to be honest with you. Really good. I couldn't find what the ABV was, so I'm about to fall on my ass to get drunk from drinking all this. Let's hit one more. English Sox Colin, my man. Happy New Year, White Sox Twitter. Ready for Fuck Loaf 2026. It's on. I mean, we need to finally print the shirts, the Fuck BeefLoaf shirts. I think people will get down on them. We can get people to buy. We'll get more people to buy those than to buy the GFY Award shirt. So thank you, my friend. Absolutely delicious. Yeah, I hope it's not 20% alcohol. 20% unk beef on a Monday. And although I'm going on vacation soon, so yeah, I know. I was just in Vegas, planning to be back on vacation again soon. So why the fuck not? No, 2025 season 3 of the Au Jus. I think this show has finally come into its own. What it was kind of intended to be. When I first started doing this, I had two things I wanted to do. One, I wanted to interview content creators and extract information from those people, how they do what they do. As us coming from, we're amateurs. 108ers are amateurs, even though we've been doing this now for, the blog's a decade old. The audio content is 8 years old-ish from the 108 podcast. It's always interesting to hear like people who do it for a living or have been doing it for longer than us. How do they do what they do? So that was one tenor of the show. The second tenor was to get to White Sox conversations that I don't hear being had out there. Me and the boys are big proponents of this. Kind of like Rick Rubin always says, I would have never made anything if it weren't for the thing I wanted made didn't exist. So that's how we kind of think about things is like, well, let's just make the shit we like that's not out there already. If someone's out there making this something that we really enjoyed, we want to make shit. But we find ourselves a lot of times in a spot, no one's doing this. We would like to see this. Let's get out there and absolutely do it. And so that is those conversations. And the conversations on that perspective is where we're kind of zoning in a little more and more. And when I say conversations that aren't being had, one, it's parties that aren't partaking in those conversations, right? I years and years of doing White Sox podcasts now, the amount of people that are allowed to speak on them, guests and stuff, are so fucking small. I mean, we've tried to expand that tremendously, but even to this day, we get, Beef, you guys need some new guests. You need some different guests. However, we've had hundreds of guests over the years. on this thing. And it's multiples of what anyone else in this pool is doing. So you realize like how small the group is. But also it's like the depth with the conversations are going. Everything is kind of built, commoditized. You know, the old 108 podcast, we would do 3 fucking hours and ramble along in the different paths, and we really get into some shit. I've tried to do like a White Sox version of that where we trim this down. This is under an hour show generally, but where we dig deep on some stuff, man. I have Ozzie Guillen Jr. on here, and we're just talking manager stuff for an hour on manager stuff, and that's it. You know, we're not diving down on a bunch of different paths. And so that second version, that second stream of it, where the conversations is really where it's gone and where I want it to continue to go. And just to highlight and recap, you know, some of 2025, everyone's favorite guest, favorite au jus guest, and so much so that here's a perils of doing a solo show. When you have a really good guest, your normal podcast mates get jealous that you have the guest on your show, so you have to have them on the Festivus show. But that's Patches O'Houlihan, Sandra, absolutely terrific guest. And if there was a Patches O'Houlihan in Sox Twitter, they would have the highest rated podcast, own absolutely fucking everything, if that exists. Great guest. But I like the path of funny, obviously gorgeous. We know that. Knows ball. I would love to get kind of more of these funny people that are other teams' fans in here to do some shows. I got that with the Cubs. So we can do Cubs, and with Sandra, we can do Yankees. I'm trying to branch out a little bit, but the fit has got to be right. I'm not just going to go, hey, anyone who likes X team, come in here. It's got to be a 108 flavor. It's got to be the kind of like, you know, sense of humor that we all have. Otherwise, it's never going to work. But that is like a path I would love to go. And she's absolutely terrific guest. I mean, just like that. That's what I want. The humor, all that stuff. Let me get to this drink here from Peyton. Peyton says, Beef, who's your favorite Sox player of each decade? That's a good question. Baines in the 80s, Thomas 90s, Canerco 2000s, 2010s, Abreu 20s. We'll see. We're not there yet. We're not totally there yet, but thank you, Peyton. Appreciate that. Appreciate that drink. Yes, Jared. Humor. See, here's the thing. The reason why I made the au jus is I wanted to be able to have baseball conversations without all the dick jokes. You have a guest on the 108 podcast, you know what direction it's going to go. But they still need to have some humor. The show needs to still be fun and entertaining. Otherwise, you'd be bored to death. People can't just go an hour and you're just talking fucking nonsense. There's got to have the humor in there, at least in some elements. And so that's why perfect guests like that. I had Crawford come on this year and do the Cubs one. But there's good Cubs people. I've had Danny Rocket on here. Is terrific. You know, I know Alexis and Sarah and some of those people, Prez, Fids, although I'm not worried about Cubs. I can get a Cubs. We're friends with Barstool Carl. I'm not worried about Cubs, but outside of the Cubs realm, you know, just trying to find those people, that would be a nice addition to it. I closed the season with Pinos versus Ken WO discussions. And although it wasn't as contentious as a lot of people were kind of hoping, I think that's another avenue to have discussions. I don't think there's enough in a podcast form dissenting views on topics where you're really digging deep. Not like you talk. Okay, you disagreed, but you don't go further than service level as to why you disagreed or into kind of the topic a little bit deeper. Because I talk to a lot of White Sox fans, smart White Sox fans, and they don't all agree on shit. And a lot of times they're on different sides. And you saw from that episode with Pinos and Ken W.O., not only did those two guys have different sides, they're smart enough. They know the other side, how they're going to attack them already. And those are the kind of discussions I wanted to have. I really thought that one was extremely fruitful for them to kind of dig in on those players so you can get the perspective and understand, why does that guy like that guy? Okay, why does he like him better? And I think there's a lot of room for that. It just hasn't been done enough. And I'm looking for opportunities to do that next year. We'll get to next year's topics in a minute. I had some great non-baseball baseball conversations this year. When I said non-baseball, I mean non-on the field, non-statistical type stuff. Not current team conversations. I had a great one with Rob Hart. Conversations about the stadium, about the Ishbias. That one I got so much feedback from, including feedback from people kind of in the know who were like, wow, you really hit on some stuff no one's talking about. And there's a lot of truth to the discussions there. And Rob is another old school Sox fan like the rest of us. Yes, he is in media, but he's not in media where he's constantly doing sports media. He's just a nerdy Sox fan like the rest of us. And so having conversations with him are terrific. And he's not out there talking White Sox enough. for this audience. I had another great conversation with Aloha Mr. Hand talking about Hall of Fame stuff that I truth be told, we sit right by each other at Sox games. I didn't know half the shit he was telling me about in that story. And I got a lot of great feedback on that one too. It's like, wow, this is some cool shit. I didn't know anything about this. And I think that the waters run deep across people out here in Sox Twitter that know about things. I've just been trying to dig in and be, more thoughtful and trying to find guests in here that I know are wealth of knowledge on a specific topic and get them in here to talk about it. I mean, one of my most fun conversations that I had Jacqueline Hilligoss on, and we just talked vibes, just player vibes for an hour. And like, that was so fun. It's like, let's get into all the stuff that makes a White Sox fan. And, and it felt like it kind of rounded out what we're doing here on the shoe. I had, he bought me a drink earlier. I think the Sox Colin reach out to me with some ideas that he had and said, Beef, would you be interested in talking about some of this stuff? And when he reached out, I was like, I absolutely would love talking about this stuff. Who wouldn't want to talk about some of these concepts? But they're not out there. Those things aren't out there for everyone. And so I'm amenable to well thought out argument discussion like English Sox Colin brought to me, and just have you on, even if I don't know if you're going to be good or not on the microphone. Now, luckily for me, English Sox Colin was fucking hilarious, and people left him there like, you got to bring that guy back on. That guy's got to come back on. I know it's a little late for you, Colin, but we'll have to get you back on the show again. I know you got a lot of thoughts about things, and I like the way you attacked it. You thought about it from an arbitrage standpoint. You've got a poker background, kind of like I do too, and so there's a lot of stuff there that people can learn, like from that vantage point, as to how these GMs might attack things or could attack things there. So I thought that was a really fruitful thing. I kind of, at this point, I have my regulars. I have people that are going to be on here all the time. It's kind of funny. Like probably my main regular, and one of the reasons I built the show is like, I would like to. We should talk to Alex Rude on the podcast 3-4 times a year, and it's so funny that was one of the original thoughts of it. We have done. I think Alex has been on the show at least twice a year since we started this. And then he'll also do the 108 podcast. We'll do some trade stuff over there usually. But when we had our off-season meeting, our creative meeting, and he notes on the Ajou, and the guys generally liked how it went or whatever. And Treesy's only note, he said, you don't have a guest. It's you and Alex. He goes, get Alex back out there. So I think internally we like what Alex has to say. We like doing stuff with him. And I think externally the people really like to hear from Alex too. And so, but it's been Alex, it's been BZ, it's been Ian Eskridge, the aforementioned Ken W.O. and P. Knowles. I've had Jordan Lazowski on here pretty regularly. And those are people that I will want to talk to going forward into the future. I mean, and I think that's how it's going to be built around. Good to hear. We got to do lunch again soon, actually. That's what we got to do first. But yeah. I mean, that's kind of build the show around some regulars. And then I really want to have some great discussions with all of you on White Sox Twitter who have something to say, and there's nothing wrong with that. One way where I don't think we're going to be going very much, actually, I guess two. I probably won't use this platform as much anymore for just kind of celebrity media person interviews. And we did one this past year only. And Mrs. Beef actually did it. She did the interview with Christine Brennan, who had the Caitlin Clark book coming out. And that was a terrific interview. If you haven't heard that interview, very good interview. I would love to have Mrs. Beef back on here and interview anyone she wants to and talk to anyone she wants. But I think that focus and the content creator focus is probably going away materially. We might have it sprinkled in occasionally, but it's no longer going to be a major focus of the show. This show's been around 3 years. I've offered it up to the fellas. You guys want to have just a random interview on here or whatever. They've been lukewarm about doing that. And I haven't really taken this platform either to do that. I've done more of, the content creator guys. I've kind of gotten to a lot of the ones that I've wanted to get to with regards to doing that. There's a couple that are out there that potentially I could bring on here. I actually had a good interview with Ryan McGuffey where we talk White Sox and we talk content creation. So there could be crossover episodes like that. But I think it's going to be more White Sox conversations probably going forward. So that version of it might be kind of, I don't want to say dead, but kind of close to dying. So it is what it is at this point. The show will be in its 4th season, and we got yeah. Well, you missed the first few minutes, Goro. I bring back Sandra. Sandra will come back. I'm sure when the Yankees are playing the White Sox, we'll bring her back. She's said before, favorite podcast to come on is all 108 stuff. So we'll bring her back on here. What we need to do is find more Sanders. We need to find more people funny and interesting out there. that we can bring on here. Trey, no, that's not what I'm saying. You don't have to start. You don't need to start your own podcast. Not at all. And in fact, just thoughts out in the marketplace, or like English Sox Colin did, he just DM'd me and said, Beef, I got these couple ideas. You interested in cutting it up with these? And I read through them. I'm like, yeah, I'm absolutely be interested in all this shit. Let's throw down and let's do it. And so I'm amenable to those sorts of things. Now I'm going to get like 50 DMs and I'm going to pick 2 of you because make sure it's well thought out. Make sure you got something for me. All right. Unc Beef's not just throwing you on here because I like you, because I like all of you in the comments, but not everyone should be talking to the mic. That's what we've all said. We've always said that for years. So, the current state of White Sox content. I debated if I was going to talk about anyone specific in this area or not. I still might not. But a couple thoughts that I generally have listening to it, and I'm not as diligent about listening to other people's stuff as I used to be. I used to listen to a lot more. At some point in doing this stuff, White Sox Dave gave me and the boys the tip: we shouldn't listen to anybody else's shit. I said, don't listen to any other way. Listen to other people's stuff, but don't listen to other people's White Sox stuff. He goes, you want to keep your brain clear with your thoughts, articulate those as much. And it's good advice, but I do like to sample around and listen to other people's stuff. And so I haven't totally abide by that. But I think right now, still in White Sox Twitter, and we're a couple years clear of him being fired, there's too much Rick Hahn think in the bloodstream right now. I hear it all over the place, man. I saw a tweet the other day by someone who's pretty well known. Someone podcast I listened to a little bit. I was like, this is Rick Hahn bullshit, man. Don't fall back into this. The Getz regime, they're not building it like that. It's different now. They're taking more modern tech, but that's old shit that didn't work. We watched it not work, and your brain is still going back there. And I think there's a lot of that. There's not enough analyzing how this Getz regime is different. We all fell back on our priors. We had it locked down because the guys have been doing it for 20 years. We could predict what they were going to do next. And it was easy to say, oh, well, this is obviously going to happen, or this is the White Sox way or whatever. And a lot of this shit has changed. No, it's not Jimmy Fox. The tweet I saw that was resting on it was Courtney Finicum. And then I've seen Ryan McGuffey a little bit too much thinking like Hahn. I'd like to get him on here and actually talk to him long form and just about, because I think I don't think we fundamentally disagree about what the White Sox should be, but I think we should be spending. And I'm still looking at like, there's a lot of broken shit in here we need to fix. There's a lot of fixing that needs to go on here. But yeah, I mean, things like that. But I think that we fell back too much into the Sox make decisions like this. And so now this is how we all react to it. And Getz is doing things that are different. Okay. Are they all going to work? No. And sometimes it's going to look like a fucking idiot doing some of them. But you look at it, and it doesn't look the same to me. It has not looked the same since the very beginning. There's a few things here and there, but for the most part, it looks like an entirely different group has taken over. And I think we're just, as a group, maybe I'm excluding myself because I'm saying I'm Mr. Smarty Pants. I've noticed it, but we've been a little lazy. We need to be a little less lazy on that tip with regards to that. I think there's not enough discussions, as I mentioned in the first section. Like when I had Ken W. and Pinos on here, there aren't enough discussions where people vehemently don't agree on something. We do that on the One Way podcast, actually. Teresa and I have been going at each other quite a bit lately. I think we think different things about this current regime. I think Teresa is much more down on the front office and group than I actually am. I mean, I'm not as sky high as MSS, but there's points to argue here. And I think that there's a lot more room for discussions and a lot more room to getting in deep on stuff. Like, look, this isn't sports talk radio where they got to hit a post in 10 minutes. We can go for 40 minutes on a fucking topic if we want to dig in on it and if it's still interesting to us. And when those opportunities arise, we should do that. Alex Root says, yeah, way too many people thinking they're a signing or two away from it. Correct. That's my main thought. Like that if you just throw money at it right now, there we go. And I'm not against throwing money at it, but you got to realize there's still a lot of building here to go. Just because we've gotten some prospects up here that are pretty good doesn't mean we're right there yet. Let them keep rebuilding this shit. Let them keep going with that. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's not just because I've got people that in the mainstream media that I don't like. You guys have seen me get into very public fights with Lawrence Holmes. The mainstream media, for like any of you in the comments, it's mostly not worth your time. Unless they're breaking some story that we didn't know about or transactional stuff. It's just not worth your time. It doesn't get in there deep enough. You should be wallowing in the shallow pools of White Sox Twitter and finding things that you like in there and jumping in there and getting conversations on Twitter in general. from that perspective, I don't think the mainstream media is ever going to really provide you enough, just because they're so out on the team when they're down, and then when they're back up, it ends up being all the fluff and bullshit. Let's have AJ Brzezinski on 20 fucking times, and that's what they call it a day. So that's not quite enough for you guys. The podcasts, I think, for me listening around in general, are doing a good job of covering this, and there's enough diversity in the groups where we're getting to a lot of different stuff. So I think that's a good thing right now. But the podcast pile right now is pretty lean. We haven't hit the Gold Rush 2.0 just yet. And so once we get there, I'm sure I'll have a lot of opinions on who stinks and who doesn't. But a couple highlights for me, specifically listening to other people's stuff. I've become big fans of Ian Eskridge and James Fox doing the Future Sox podcast. And I think people are going to say, "Oh, fuck that James Fox." Whatever. I like James specifically outside of he's a really good dude. But I think the partnership of them two, their personalities work well together. I think they do get deep on some stuff. Yeah, a prospect show based on one team is always going to be a little more homerish than it probably should be. But they're about as good as you can get, where they have seen it all before, and they don't get too high on a lot of these guys comparatively. But also there's so much you can learn about the player profiles by just listening to them. So much you can learn about, just how that all it works. And yeah, Trey's right. Ian knows this stuff. Ian, we've had Ian on here a lot of times. Ian Sharp is a tech. He knows a lot. James is great, gets information from people that get good guests on there. They have good discussions on stuff. I've become really, over the last calendar year plus, I've become a big fan of what they're doing over there. I think they do a great job. I recently, I haven't listened a lot to Locked On Sox in the past, but this year I've had two great conversations with Todd Welter on Locked On Sox, and it just like stuff that was getting deep in on some White Sox stuff. And I guess maybe I underestimated kind of what was going on there since Todd took over, but I think he does a good job. I think he gets in on some shit, and he's willing to discuss some topics and dive in. And I really, I had a great time the last time I was on there. Now, not to give away secrets, but if you have a guest on the show who happens to write a bunch of stuff or put a bunch of content out there, what you can do is grab a bunch of it and then argue over it. Whether you agree or disagree, it's a nice, easy trope. But Todd did a great job with it, and Todd has done a good job too of involving Sox Twitter and having a lot of Sox-based guests on the show over the course of his run. And so I've enjoyed that one very much. And then last but not least, I think he's actually mad at me right now. I watched him on live stream today, and he did bring up one of my thoughts on Sam Antonacci, but that's Sean Anderson. CHGO does a great job. I think he got pissed at me though, because I told him because someone was taking up for him that he it's a one-man podcast over there. And I'm like, that's some bullshit. He's got a producer. He had 20 people when they went and interviewed the Sox name. And I said, he wants to have a guest on. He's just plugged in as anyone. He was a former producer at The Score. He'd have guests on every day. And he was almost like, he didn't say, fuck you, Beef, but he kind of gave me some shit. And then I noticed he was having guests on almost every day for a while. So you're welcome, Sean. But Sean does a great job. Attacks the topics from a different approach. Really nice stuff. And so I think as a group out here, there's a lot of good things in the podcast that cover the White Sox. There's only, there's probably more than I'm thinking of, but there's probably 6 or 7 or 8 of us that make this our vocation to kind of really dig in on the White Sox. And as a group, doing a very good job of getting in on a lot of these issues and really thinking through everything here. And so we'll wait to see when Gold Rush 2.0 comes, if that changes things. Last but not least, we'll close this up here. Looking forward to 2026. Good news for those of you that hate when I sit here by myself and talk. I would say the solo podcasts are probably gone. We probably won't do these anymore. Maybe I'll do the final podcast of the year like that. I'm sure it's a 6 or 7. I don't know. Maybe there's 10. I don't know who's regularly doing it. You got to be doing it every week at a minimum to kind of say you're doing a White Sox podcast. And you got to be talking just White Sox. I'm not talking to everyone. If you're spraying to all the fields, I'm not talking about you either. I'm just talking about the real dorky, nerdy, White Sox podcast. But I think the solo podcasts are probably done. We're probably going to do less episodes of the Aju next year. 38 this past year. I would say we're probably coming 32 or 30, somewhere in that range. And they'll be all me and someone else, or me and a couple someone else's on here. And Trey says, I like the solo ones on occasion, especially during the season. The solo ones, we're going to take a different form. So something I talked about with the boys, something that we should do. And neither one of the fellas were into it for various reasons. They just they got conflicts at the time. But we were realizing, like, we don't service those of you that get up early and are out on the road at 6 a.m. and go to work. And so what we're going to try to start doing, I'm going to try to start doing, I should say, is if I were going to have a solo Jew, instead of doing that, I'll do a live stream in the morning during a weekday. So you'll be able to tune in from your phone, from your car, wherever the fuck, if you're already at your fucking desk, if you're on the job site or whatever, you'll be able to listen in, and we'll try to do an hour stream, and I'll try to take more interactions from you guys, comments or whatever, and we'll just talk through some topics. Like 6, probably closer to 6:30. It'll be me with a coffee, and it'd probably just be me most times, and I'll just be spewing a few things and then taking in whatever you guys have, comments or whatever the fuck. Well, I'm not doing it 4:30 in the morning. Teresa says I do it, but B and Beef have different definitions of early. Yeah, Teresa will be working by the time. He'll be the one of the people I'll be live streaming too, because I'll already be at work. I don't work that early. I'm a 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock to the office kind of guy. So 6:30-ish, maybe for an hour. Catch some of you guys in while you're going your commute. Or if you're already at work, like Trey says he works at 5:30. Let's go. Well, in the 6:30 hour, we'll get you all fixed up. So that'll be the plan there. Definitely in the coming year, and I'm gonna be looking for more excuses to do it. I'd like to have more discussions where it's not just me and a guest on here, like the last episode when I had Ken W. and P-Knowles. I would like it to be more discussions, and we'll have different people on here, different matchups in those discussions. And it doesn't need to be adversarial. It can just be a good discussion, a good, hey, if we were sitting at Cork, what would we be talking about? That type of shit. But Sox related. I want to keep it in the Sox realm. I think that is a good place to be. And like I said, we don't have a lot of this crossover. There was a time when on Twitter, when you would do the, I forget what those called, spaces, when you do the spaces, Josh Nelson used to do a good job of doing spaces. And there would be a lot of different crossovers from different people. And that was cool in that era to get a lot of that. And you could have people jump on and ask questions and stuff. But that era seems to have been past. And I think we're kind of missing some of those conversations. And so I think it'd be worthwhile to bring that back. We'll bring that back in some form, probably a little more structured form, because I like to send an agenda and have sort of an idea where we're going. Alex says Gabe and Crawford debating whether to bring back. That could be a good one. Right, a lot of yelling and cursing, I would imagine, and potential nut shots in that one. So it could be exciting for everybody. But we'll go longer form. We'll do more of those. I'll try to find more matchups, and I'll try to mine Twitter. I'm always on there, so I'll figure out where people are disagreeing and try to get some fresh blood on here. I would like to have more conversations like the ones I had with Rob Hart, Mr. Hand, Jacqueline Hillegas, about some things that are kind of on the periphery of the on the field stuff. Things where we can, stretch our legs a little bit on what might be going on in the business side. What's kind of going on the vibe side? What are the fan sentiments about players? We get into that on the 108 podcast, and we'll talk stats. We'll talk, kind of like high level, how they build the team. But we'll also talk like, what are the vibes around this player? How do we see this player? Are players going to be pissed off that Mooney has Adam Dunn's, slash line, and they don't like that bumpiness of production or whatever. But I want to get into more of that stuff too with a lot of you out there, because there's a lot of fans that got a lot of thoughts on this stuff, and I think we can encapsulate it here on Yaju. And then, of course, I'm always looking at new guests. I've got some angles lined up. I mean, there's one obvious guest that I haven't had on here that I really need to have on here, and that's Hot Dog Larry. And I just need to get coached up on Hot Dog Larry's all this stuff. I know some of his accomplishments, but I got to get a little deeper. I don't want him to come on here and feel like Beef didn't put in the work to interview me, but I do definitely want to have him on here. I want to have Sean Sullivan on here. I mean, he does some great work out there. When I got to get smarter to have him on here, but he's a good dude. I want to have the guys from the Blackout Show. There's a lot of people that I want to have on here for discussions. Some of it's just going to take work from me. Some of it's going to take finding the right opportunity, the right, situation to have those people on. So, but again, we're working more towards White Sox conversations here and less towards the celebrity style interviews, but we won't get rid of the celebrity style interviews. We still like our local celebs, and we will include them in there. So I want to say goodbye to 2025. I want to thank my guests for the year in no particular order: Alexis Lopez, My Socks Number, Teresa E., Pinos, Ken W.O., BZ, Sleepy Harold, English Socks Colin, Ozzie Guillen Jr., Ian Eskridge, Patches O'Houlihan, Sam Reeves, Alex Rude, Christine Brennan, Aloha Mr. Hand, Julie Swika, Matt Crawford, Jacqueline Hilligoss, Rob Hart, Ryan McGuffey, Sox Optimist, Jordan Lazowski, Todd Walter, Courtney Finicum, and James Fox. Thanks to all of you that joined the show during the year. Really appreciate that so much. Also want to thank all of you who've been loyal to the show, viewers and listeners. Believe you me, when I come here to show up at 6 p.m. on a Monday, I don't know if anyone's going to show up. I hope people do show up. I hope people get something out of this, at least get as much out of it as I do. Stretching my legs and being able to talk to all you guys about White Sox stuff. I enjoy it so much. And believe you me, this is not a lie. Teresi, I think, is still in the comments. He could vouch for me. I have plans of making an Au Jus shirt now, but it will not be for sale. It will be, I will give it away to the loyal people that show up to this show, at any point in time. The people that are the loyal listeners to this thing, I want to just give it away to you guys. So once we get that going, maybe in 4, we'll do that. So no particular order. I did it backwards. All right, Alex, how dare you, motherfucker? But thank you for always being available to be on the show. And this is just kidding, Beef. Yeah, I mean, I've got well, he says gravy colored t-shirt fold. I got some ideas, but it hasn't come to fruition. It's hard for me. MSS will make me a good design on something. We have a perpetual rebuild Chris Getz shirt that we've been wanting to make, and he's made 2 really good designs that I just can't. I got to shit or get off the pot on some of these things, man. Sometimes you just got to run with it. So, but thanks to all of you that have stayed supportive to this. It gives super chats on Monday nights that pop in here and want to listen to this stuff. I just really appreciate it. And even if you listen on the podcast feed later or whatever, I appreciate you as well. But definitely the diehards that jump up here there in the comments, I really appreciate that, my friends. And last but not least, a huge thank you to Vince and the team over at Punkies, man. Punkies. I'm launching a solo show. I don't have a sponsor to start. We go for a while. I finally tell the boys, I think I'm going to reach out to Punkies and Vince. And then we worked with them before on some stuff. And I said, Vince, I got this thing. And he's like, Beef, we always love working with you guys. Whatever you want to do. You want to do the stupid GFI awards? Fine. We got the gift cards for you. Anything you guys want to do. And they've always been so supportive. And like our other sponsors, they let us do anything we want. Carte blanche, read the ads we want to read, act a fool like we want to fucking act. So very cool to work with partners that are like that. Gordo says, love it, Beef. Thank you, Gordo. Cheers, my friend. Delicious. Teresa says, great season, Beef. Now drink the rest of those stouts. I don't know if I want to do them all in one night. That's too much there. Next week's guest is nobody. I'm going to take a couple weeks off, it looks like. I'm going to shoot for January 19th as the first Au Jus of the year. I got thoughts on who I'd like that to be, or and then just kind of the order we want to do things going up. But we'll come back pretty soon. So anyway, thanks to Punky's Pizza and Pasta. Thanks to all of you family that was up in the YouTube comments. 108 family, appreciate you smashing the like button, drinks and tips. We love all of you. Hopefully, we see every single one of you on January 31st. At Reggie's. We need you guys to buy tickets. Come out to the show. It's going to be a great fucking night. Come and do that with us. See you guys. I love all of you and have a happy new year.